leaking blood, or I've got copious, or I'm passing clots, all these things. So you will not be able to answer them properly. Immediately you'll refer them to a gynecologist. Before that, you can reassure them.
Hello.
You have to reassure them. So at least for that, we have to need all these things. And this is not a clinical examination case. Are you audible? Hello? Can you hear my voice?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's audible.
So this is not a clinical case they'll keep, because of the acute condition, they'll not keep it as a clinical case. But you may be encountering this in ward rounds. That's why I've chosen this, right? Okay, start presenting.
Okay, ma'am. Mrs. Radha, 20 years old homemaker, wife of Mr. Saravanan, who resides at Red Hills, belongs to class 4 socioeconomic status with education till 10th standard, who is a primary gravida. Chief complaints, patient came with complaints of bleeding per vagina since last night, and she gave an history of 9 weeks of amenorrhea. Presenting complaints, Mrs. Radha came with bleeding per vagina, which was moderate in quantity and red in color. The bleeding was associated with mild pain in the lower abdomen. There's no history of clots, no history of passage of products of conception.
What do you mean by then moderate amount of flow?
Ma'am?
How many pads she is changing per day?
Okay, ma'am.
Is it a blood stain discharge? You have to differentiate between a blood stain discharge or streaking of blood in the discharge, or there is a brownish color discharge, brownish color discharge. That is a old blood. Okay. Or if it's a fresh bleeding, which is continuous, associated with the pain, all these things you have to ask. Moderate amount means she must pass clots also.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Okay, anyway, continue.
There's no history of burning micturition, no history of fever or chills, no history of trauma.
Okay, why you have to ask this fever with the chills?
Ma'am, it could be septic
Yeah,
abortion.
septic abortion. Always in septic abortion, there is always high temperature, it's more than 103. Sometimes the patient will have chills with hypothermia. That also indicates there is a focus of infection. Because if it's because of the endotoxic shock, the patient will have hypothermia. Subnormal temperature, they will feel. So fever will not be seen always in case of septic abortion. Anyway, you have to ask history of fever. Or sometimes fever, it's a per se. The fever is due to some other thing that itself will abort the fetus. So fever history is very, very important. Okay.
The patient is booked and immunized at a nearby PHC.
Huh?
Last month. No?
இல்ல வாய்ஸை கேட்க மாட்டேங்குதுடா. வேணா பேசுறேன்.
Hello, Priya. Why are you not putting the mic near your mouth? And then put in slideshow.
Can you hear me now?
Put the screen in slideshow and don't change it again and again.
How many slides you have?
10 slides, ma'am.
Okay. Good.
The patient is booked and immunized at a nearby PHC. LMP is on
இப்ப நல்லா கேக்குது. இதே பொசிஷன்ல மைக் வச்சுக்கோ.
On 2nd of February 2021, an expected date of delivery is 11th of November 2021. It's a spontaneous pregnancy, which is confirmed with urine pregnancy test at 5 weeks of gestation. There's no history of rash, no history of drug intake. There's no history of exposure to radiation. Tablet folic acid was taken. Dating scan was done at 9 weeks.
History of pain you have asked?
Ma'am, I had put it in the start.
Is there any abdominal pain associated with this bleeding?
Mild abdominal pain.
So if it's a mild abdominal pain, what are all the possibilities? If it's a severe abdominal pain, excruciating tenderness, what are all the possibilities? It's mild pain?
It can be threatened abortion, ma'am.
You said it is a moderate inflow. So maybe, yeah? Incomplete abortion or complete abortion?
Okay, ma'am.
We'll see one by one what are the clinical features they have. Okay. If it's a severe excruciating pain?
Ruptured ectopic.
Yeah, good. With the intra-abdominal bleed. So there's a mild pain. Okay, proceed.
menstrual history.
Hmm.
Age at menarche at 12 years. Cycles are regular. 4 days of menstrual bleed with 3 to 4 pads changed per day. No history of passing of clots. Marital history. Age
Yeah,
at
one
marriage was
second,
22.
Menstrual history is very important in obstetric cases, right? So she has attained menarche at 12 years of age. Since then, her periods are regular. And you have to ask the previous 3 periods, which is regular as well as in the amount of flow should be normal, right? Then only you can take this LMP as a reliable one. Previous 3 cycles should be regular and the amount of flow should be normal. If the previous 2 cycles, the amount of flow was that she was bleeding for 3 days and the last last menstrual cycle, she has only one spotting or a very minimal bleed. That is not reliable. That is not a regular cycle, right? You cannot rely on the LMP by taking this history. So you have to ask previous 3 cycles are normal and provided she should not take any oral contraceptive pills. Why oral contraceptive pill history you should ask in menstrual cycle? Because if she takes oral contraceptive pills, after stopping the pill, the patient will have post-pill amenorrhea followed by the ovulation will be delayed. So the calculation of the LMP and the gestational age and EDD will not be correct. So oral contraceptive history you should ask. Otherwise, what are the drugs which says that the LMP is very much reliable? What are the drugs that shows that the LMP is reliable? OC pills at the unreliable LMP. If she takes other drug, that is reliable. What drug is that? Ovulation induction drug. Hello? இங்க ஏதாவது ப்ராப்ளமா?
Hello guys, am I audible?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Sound
இங்க அவங்களுக்கு
கேக்குது மேம். ஆக்சுவலி இது
நம்மளது ஏதோ ப்ராப்ளமோ?
சவுண்ட் ஃபுல்லா கேக்குது.
இது என்னடா ஏஜ் ஓல்டு லேப் ஒன்று வச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம்ல, யாருக்கு
டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்
கூட ஹெட்ஃபோன் கூட. ஒன் செகண்ட், ஹெட்ஃபோன் போட்டுக்கிறேன், எனக்கு சரியா கேட்க மாட்டேங்குது.
Okay, ma'am.
நீ எந்த வார்டு கண்ணா?
மேம் நான் ஃபைனல் இயர்.
ஃபைனல் இயரா? ஆமா, நான் சிஆர்ஆர் வந்து ஹெல்ப் பண்றேன்னு நினைச்சிட்டு இருக்கேன்டா. நீ எப்படி வந்த?
ஹாஸ்டல்ல தான் மேம்.
அப்படி எங்கே தான் ஸ்டே பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா? ஓகே ஓகே, சரி அப்ப சரி. ஹலோ, கேக்குதாடா?
Yes, ma'am.
எனக்கு சத்தமா பேச மாடி.
Yes, ma'am.
கேக்குதா மேம்?
எனக்கு கேக்குது. இதுக்கு மைக் இல்லையா?
நீங்க பேசுறது அப்படியே
கேக்குமா? ஓகே,
இல்ல இன்பில்ட் மைக் தான் மேம்.
ஓகே. Sorry, OC pills, if she takes OC pills, the ovulation would have occurred at 14th day. So that menstrual cycle is reliable. So you have to ask previous 3 cycles are normal and the flow is normal. She's not taking any oral contraceptive pills. If she took any OC, ovulation induction drugs, you have to mention that. So all these things should be mentioned in menstrual cycle, right? Okay, then menstrual history. Next is?
Marital history.
Marital history, okay.
Age at marriage was 22 years old. Non-consanguineous marriage. Conceived 2 years after marriage with no history of oral contraceptive pill intake. Past history. Not a known case of diabetic.
I want to ask if she is married. If she is married since 2 years, nowadays patients, all the patients, immediately after marriage they'll come for not conceiving. So this patient is taking. This patient is not conceived for 2 years. Is there any treatment she has taken? Is there any investigation she has taken? This history is very important because if she is usually the tubal pathology will cause most of the times the tubal pathology will be the cause of infertility, right? So in that the commonest etiology is tuberculous endometritis, tuberculous endosalpingitis endometritis, right? So in that case, tubal block, if there is a tubal block, the patient will have what? Infertility, and then she conceives. There is a possibility of ectopic pregnancy, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Any tubal pathology is the etiology of ectopic pregnancy. It's very unusual to have a 9 weeks unrupture harm. Unusual, but anyway, we've seen so many cases in carnal pregnancy. It goes up to 11, 12 weeks also in ectopic pregnancy, right? Okay, proceed.
Past history, not a known case of diabetes mellitus, hypertension, epilepsy, asthma, heart disease, or TB.
And again, hypothyroidism. It is very common now. Subclinical hypothyroidism is very common now. And TB, history of TB. All these things should be in past history.
There's no history of previous surgery, no history of allergy to any drug or food. Personal history, patient consumes mixed diet, normal bowel and bladder, normal sleep pattern, not an alcoholic or a smoker.
Okay.
Family history, there's no history, no history of any genetic disorders in the family.
Very good. Why? This you have to ask.
Ma'am, because in the first trimester, the most common cause of...
Common is chromosomal aberrations. Very good. And that history you have to ask.
Then general examination. Patient
What is the commonest chromosomal aberration we are encountering?
Ma'am, aneuploidy.
What type?
Ma'am?
What is the commonest diagnosis? So we are screening for all the patients in first trimester. What is that? Downs.
General examination. Patient was conscious, oriented, moderately built and nourished. There is no pallor or icterus, cyanosis, clubbing, pedal edema, no generalized lymphadenopathy. Anthropometry. Height of the patient was 150 centimeters. Weight is 60 kilograms. Vitals, temperature afebrile. Respiratory rate was 14 breaths per minute. Pulse rate was 80 beats per minute. Blood pressure was 110/70 millimeters of mercury.
These vital shows that she doesn't have any alarming bleeding. It must be a slight bleeding only. Even a small amount of 1 inch clot also the patient says passed so much blood. So we have to ask specifically whether she has passed any clots, what is the size of the clot, how many pads she has changed. By that we can assess the blood loss. By seeing these vitals, she is not bled so much, right? Okay.
Systemic examination, respiratory system, normal vesicular breath sounds were heard, no added sounds. Cardiovascular system, S1, S2 heard, no murmur. Central nervous system, no focal neurological deficit. Ma'am, vaginal examination, are we supposed to do?
No, you should not do. You should not do. You are not allowed to do also. Okay.
So, after this, because it's only 9 weeks of amenorrhea, like what are we supposed to do after this one?
That's why we are going to discuss about this. So how are you going to approach this patient? First, history, you've taken everything, right? What are the, how many patch she has changed? How is that associated with any pain? If the pain is severe, if the pain is slight, the diagnosis may be threatened abortion, right? Okay, if the pain is very much severe, the patient will be in the process of expelling the products of conception, right? It is an inevitable abortion, or it should have passed the products of conception, some has retained, that causes the severe pain. Because any foreign body, it's a fetus is also a foreign body. If anything which is inside the uterine cavity, the uterus tries to expel it out. So by doing that, the uterus contracts, that causes severe pain, right? Another diagnosis is ectopic. In ectopic pregnancy, because of the distension of the tube as well as rupture, that causes severe abdominal excruciating pain along with associated with the shoulder tip pain because of diaphragmatic irritation. So patient will have shoulder irritation pain also, shoulder pain also, right? So this is regarding pain. Fever, as I said, fever. If the fever is not there, you cannot rule out septic abortion. Septic abortion is usually if they intervene anything with the self-intervention, or they goes to quack and they put some previous days we used to see so many septic abortion cases because they used to put some kuchi or like that. They'll introduce it inside the uterine cavity and send them home. So once this foreign body irritates the membrane and causes the rupture of the membrane, and partially the fetus will be expelled because they don't know whether the size of the fetus So whatever the patient comes, they will do something. That was in previous days. Nowadays, the abortions are legalized, and most of the patients are coming to our institutions. The septic abortion cases we are seeing very rarely. And when we encounter septic abortion cases, the scenario is like this. If the patient goes to a medical shop and gets a tablet, that is what tablet she gets? Empty pill, no? Mifepristone and misoprostol. It is available as kit. They used to get that, and they will not see the scan because we have to see the localization of the gestational sac. So they are not seeing the ectopic. They are not seeing whether the size of the fetus. So without saying anything, if they go to a medical shop, they give that 100 rupees tablet to 500 rupees. So 400 rupees they gave. So for that, without seeing anything, they'll give this tablet. The patient takes that, and partially the fetus gets expelled, and the retained product will be there. They think that they've expelled everything and they become normal. The partially expelled product, partially retained product, which is inside the uterine cavity, which is getting secondarily infected. Because of these tablets only, we are encountering so many septic abortion cases. Because vaginal flora is having so many pathogens also that gains access into the uterine cavity, and because of the retained products, it gets secondarily infected and causes, what are the commonest organisms which causes septic abortion? Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, Klebsiella, and Clostridium welchi. All these organisms gain access and causes septic abortion. So the history you have to ask whether she has taken any oral pills or she has gone anywhere to get aborted, because in inexperienced hands, if they do that, they will leave some products. They don't know whether to curate the entire uterus. So they leave that. And another thing is, if they take tablets for abortions, they will not take antibiotics. So all these things you have to ask. Drug history you have to ask. Okay, and then this is regarding fever. And then the passage of blood should be whether it is pure blood, fresh blood, a brown color, or if she passes along with that, what are the other history you will ask? If she passes grape-like structures, a product of conception, any fleshy mass she has expelled, or if she is expelling any grape-like things which she is expelling. What is that terminology called? Passage of white current in red current juice. That is pathognomonic of passage of vesicles, is the pathognomonic sign of vesicular mole. So you have to ask, is that she has passed any products of conception or any vesicles? So this clinches the diagnosis. If she passes some fleshy mass, it may be an incomplete abortion or a complete abortion. If she passes a vesicle, it is a pathognomonic. You have to clinch it clinches your diagnosis of vesicular mole. And if she passes, if she's not passing blood along with that purulent discharge, that is septic abortion. So this is regarding bleeding. And any other signs? Any other complaints you will have? Fever, pain, bleeding, along with that any history of discharge, right? So this is the regarding this is the history. On examination, patient will be pale and blanched. That shows it's a ruptured ectopic pregnancy. The patient will be cold, clammy skin, tachycardia, hypotension. They present with the unconscious state and with the abdominal distension. Then immediately if it is in the tertiary care level, if there will be ultrasound in the casualty, if we put a probe, as soon as we put a probe, there will be a intraperitoneal. If we see an intraperitoneal bleed, immediately we have to shift the patient to the theatre. You should not see any formalities. You have to immediately shift the patient to theatre. So immediate laparotomy and catch hold of that bleeding site. Immediately the patient's BP will raise. This is the scenario we are seeing here in unruptured ectopic pregnancies. Most of the unruptured ectopic pregnancies, they'll also have the same history of taking tablets somewhere else. Okay, on examination. If the patient is having tachycardia, severe tachycardia, that may be a intraperitoneal bleed will be there. In case of vesicular mole, the patient will have Because of excessive vomiting, the patient will be dehydrated, coated tongue, and what else? The patient will be having severe tachycardia. Sometimes the patient in vesicular mole, the patient will have features of hyperthyroidism. Why? Vesicular mole is a condition of hydrophic degeneration of the villi. So these degeneration of the villi causes syncytial and cytotrophoblast secretes more estrogen. Serum beta HCG. Serum beta HCG level is alarmingly high. Sometimes we've seen 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs and all at the stage of 5 to 6 weeks gestation. So these beta HCG subunit shares with the TSH. So it stimulates the thyroid and causes hyperthyroidism. So the patient will have features of hyperthyroidism like exophthalmos, tachycardia, atrial fibrillation also the patient will have. So any other examinations you'll find? Okay, this is the general examination. Coming to the systemic examination, you've seen CVS, RS, everything is normal. Per abdomen examination. Per abdomen examination, if it is scaphoid abdomen with the dehydration features, it is hyperemesis, maybe due to vesicular mole, or simply an hyperemesis in a normal pregnancy also we are encountering so many hyperemesis cases. And if the abdomen is distended, intraperitoneal bleed, ruptured ectopic pregnancy, right? And regarding the size of the uterus, if she says 2 months or 3 months, 2 months amenorrhea, and the uterus is palpable, what do you mean by that?
Molar.
Size will not be palpable. When the uterus will be palpable per abdomen?
Ma'am, after 12 weeks.
12 weeks. If she says 2 months, and it must be 8 weeks, but you are able to feel the per abdomen. You can feel the per abdomen uterus. That is around 12 to 14 weeks. That means what? More than the period of gestation. Maybe a diagnosis. Maybe a vesicular mole. In vesicular mole, the uterus size is more than the period of gestation, right? And next is twin gestation. Why in twin gestation there will be a bleeding? Sometimes one twin will be a vanishing twin. So that also causes brownish discharge. That is another differential diagnosis. So more than the period of amenorrhea means twins or vesicular mole. And then per vaginal examination, you need not do, but we have to as a specialist, we have to do per vaginal examination. Before that, you put a speculum. You put a speculum and see the vagina in its entirety and the cervix, right? If the vagina, if there is any vulvovaginitis, that also causes bleeding and discharge. So vagina, vulva, everything is normal. Then you look at the cervix. Cervix, what are the pathology that causes? It's not associated with pregnancy. It is not due to pregnancy. It is associated condition in pregnancy. What are the lesions that causes bleeding?
Cervical.
Hello? Southern polyp. It's a commonest finding, no? Cervical polyp or cervical erosion. Because the estrogenic action, the endocervix is getting ectropion will be seen commonly in pregnancy, which is getting exposed to the pathogens, or during coitus, this ectropion will bleed. So ectropion, cervical polyp, or any varicose veins in the cervix, highly vascular cervix, or any CS cervix. At any age we are seeing CS cervix. At 23 years of age, I've seen CS cervix in my practice. So CS cervix is also a possibility. So cervix lesion, you have to see. One example I'll tell you. One doctor, it was in a COVID season, she rang to me, madam, I've got 2 months amenorrhea and I've got bleeding. No, immediately, you go to the scan and tell me the findings. When she, 45 days amenorrhea, she went to the scan center and the fetus was in a good condition. It corresponds to the period of gestation, what she says. So nothing to worry. I gave her progesterone and all through phone only. I gave her progesterone, everything, and she was settled. Again, after 1 week, she again started bleeding. She didn't call me and immediately rushed to the scan center. Again, she saw the scan. Again, the fetus is showing the 1 week's growth and the fetus heart rate is good. Everything was fine. And again, she rang up. Okay, no problem. I gave her some tranexamic acid. No, it's almost I should not give. And it was so alarming. And I gave her sustained first on all these things. After that, only I gave tranexamic acid at the week of 8 weeks. No. So she again it was got subsided. A third time she rushed to the clinic again, and the fetus showing corresponding growth. Then only I saw, no, you have to come. Don't leave alone the COVID season. I have to examine you. As soon as she came, I put the speculum exam. To my surprise, she has a cervical polyp, which was bleeding. So far, the fetus is growing so well, and with all the support. So surface lesion, you should not forget. So before doing PB, you have to put speculum for any gynec case. Speculum examination is a must to see is there any local cause for bleeding. Then only you have to do bimanual examination. So bimanual examination, what are the things you will see? Size of the uterus, attitude of the uterus, whether it is anteverted, retroverted, size of the uterus. If the intrauterine pregnancy, the uterus will be globular and corresponds 10 weeks now. That by experience only you will be able to see whether it is 10 weeks, 12 weeks and all. No? So uterus should be globular and fornices should be free. If it is an ectopic pregnancy, uterus will be of normal size. Uterus will be of normal size. And one of the fornices, the patient will have pulsatile swelling, highly vascular, no ectopic site. The pulsatile swelling will be there, which is very tender, either one of the fornices. And movement of the cervix will be excruciatingly painful. So all these signs shows that the patient is having ectopic gestation. So, and in vesicular mole, once you do the PV, uterus will be globular more than the period of gestation, and the uterine perabdomen also, the uterus will feel doughy because of fetal parts. They don't have fetal parts. The uterus is filled with the vesicle, so the uterus feels like doughy feeling, and it will be more than the period of gestation. And in case of inevitable abortion, the size of the uterus, in case of incomplete abortion, size of the uterus will be lesser than the period of gestation. So all these things you can see in per vaginal bimanual examination. Okay, so you finish your examination. Now you are going to do investigations. What are all the investigations? First of all, what are all the etiology? It should clinch your mind. Then only you can go along with that, the investigations, necessary investigations. What are all the DDs in case of early pregnancy bleed? What are all the DDs? So far we've discussed, no? One by one.
Ectopic pregnancy, abortion.
Yeah, first only ectopic pregnancy. So no, threatened abortion is the commonest one. Before that, physiological. Is there any entity called physiological bleeding?
Yes, ma'am. During the time of implantation.
Yeah, because of the time of implantation, at the roughly around 12 weeks after the fertilization, right? It comes nearly around the next menstrual cycle. So this blastocyst gets embedded in the decidua basalis. Once it corrodes the decidua, the trophoblastic tissues, they are highly corrosive in nature. That erodes the decidual vessels. While eroding and getting attached, some of the vessels gets open, some of the capillaries gets open and shows some bleeding. This is called implantation bleeding, nothing to do with this. You can reassure the patient, this is only physiological, need not worry, and you can advise her some rest so that she will be satisfied. So next diagnosis is all the surface bleed, no, not associated conditions of pregnancy. Not related to the pregnancy itself. Okay, that is surface bleed, vaginitis, cervicitis, chronic cervicitis, cervical polyp, endometrial polyp, and endometrial polyp, which is protruding through the cervix, getting secondarily infected, and CA cervix and varicose veins. All these things are surface bleed, local causes. And then comes the pregnancy itself, the bleeding causes for bleeding in early pregnancy. First and foremost is threatened abortion. That means The uterus is trying to expel the products, but the fetus is not detached from the attachment. So bleeding will be minimal. And on ultrasound examination, the gestational sac will correspond to the period of amenorrhea, and the fetus will be in good condition with a good fetal heart image. So you'll be able to see the fetal heart flickering on ultrasound. One nimsham. Hello. சொல்லுமா. இன்னொரு நிமா கொடுக்கலாமான்னு கேள. இவரு நம்ம சர்ஜன் இருப்பாரா, சும்மா கேட்டு ஷாஜி சார்ட்ட கேட்டுப்பாரு. ஆமா 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 500 போதும். 500 போதும். எவ்வளோ வெயிட் பேஷண்ட்? என்எஸ்ல கொடு. சரி 500 போதும். கேட்டுட்டு ஆமா ஆமா. ஓகே, நான் சைலண்ட் மோட்ல வச்சுருவேன். Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
So this threatened abortion just a reassurance will do. Right. Next is inevitable abortion. In this, the fetus has got separated and it is in the lower uterine segment, but the os is closed. Anyway, this fetus you will not be able to save. It has to come out. This is inevitable abortion. Here the period of gestation will be smaller or equal to the scan finding. Okay, then third diagnosis is incomplete abortion. So in that, what will be the clinical picture? Incomplete. Hello.
There will be the products of conception would be out, ma'am, but it will not be completely excreted out.
There will be a pain with the severe bleeding, and she passes fleshy mass, and the os closes. And some of the products will be retained inside the uterine cavity. This is also scan findings. Once you put the probe in the scan, the uterine size will be smaller, and the endometrial cavity will not be clearly seen. There will be a mixed echogenic area seen inside the uterine cavity. And you have to see the vascularity. But still, as a vascularity, the serum beta HCG level will be going on increasing. So you have to see the vascularity also, right? Okay, this is inevitable abortion. We'll see the treatment one by one. And for inevitable abortion, what is the treatment for inevitable abortion? How will you manage the inevitable abortion? This is, we are talking about incomplete, but before that, I forgot to say what to do next. Okay. So in inevitable abortion, you will not be able to save the fetus. So it has to expel, no? So by what means you will make the fetus to expel?
Evacuation.
No, that is incomplete. Inevitable. So os is closed. Os is closed. So you have to open the os with the pharmacological agents. What are the pharmacological agents which causes softening and opening of the cervix? Misoprostol. So you can keep misoprostol tablet in the vagina. Once it is open, you can start a syntocinon drip and you can keep another misoprostol. It will expel. And after expulsion, if you want to confirm everything is expelled, you can put a check scan and do. That's all. That will do. Or if still the product is inside, if you feel so, you can go for dilatation and evacuation. So for inevitable abortion, the therapeutic pharmacological agents itself will causes complete expulsion of the products. In case she may need a dilatation and curettage. Okay. Then is incomplete abortion. In incomplete abortion, there is some products are inside the uterine cavity. You have to make the uterus to expel this. Again, you have to open the cervix with the pharmacological agents. Misoprostol is the best drug available nowadays. So misoprostol you keep vaginally, and 200 to up to 600 micrograms you are keeping at a time. So 600 micrograms of misoprostol you keep it. You can repeat it after 4 hours. And once she gets everything is expelled, you put a check scan. If still it is attached to the uterine cavity under antibiotic cover, you have to, whenever you touch the patient for any invasive procedure, you have to give antibiotic cover. So under antibiotic cover with the IV anesthesia, you can expel, you can cure the products. This is incomplete abortion. Next is
Complete abortion.
where an abortion, sir.
Complete abortions.
Complete abortion. Complete abortion, the history will be there was a sudden severe pain and the pause is open. The patient passed all the products of conception and the os is closed. The bleeding has stopped and the patient will not have any pregnancy symptoms. In all these, except threatened abortion, all the other things, the patient will have subsidence of the pregnancy symptoms like morning sickness, vomiting, and the feeling of nausea. All these things will subside. So in complete abortion also, the patient will have pain and bleeding, and she has expelled the fleshy mass, and the bleeding stops, and the patient will not have any pregnancy symptoms. How will you confirm this, whether the uterus is completely evacuated? By, again, scan. The endometrial cavity will be cleanly seen, and there will not be any mixed echogenic areas inside the uterine cavity. This is complete abortion. You need not do anything for that. If you want to give an antibiotic, you can give an antibiotic, just an oral antibiotic for 3 to 5 days. So next is any other causes of early pregnancy bleed? Ectopic and vesicular mole. These things are a major topic. They will deal it later in theory classes. Or if you want to ask an outline, I can tell you. Vesicular mole and ectopic pregnancy. Before that, I must tell you. This vanishing twin, no? That also, most of these, many of them will ask you, I've got 2 twins, or one of the twins died in utero. I've got a bleeding, what can I do? So if one of the twin has died in utero, you need not do anything. So that will be compressed by the growing fetus, and the other tissue fluids, body fluids are getting expelled, and the fetus becomes flattened, called fetus papacious. In later days, in the second trimester, in first trimester, it will get absorbed with the trace, leaving any trace. So you need not worry about the vanishing twin. What we have to worry is, you have to see that this fetus, the dead fetus, which causes thromboplastin release into the maternal blood vessels, that causes bleeding diathesis in the mother, coagulation disorders in the mother. So for that, you have to see the coagulation profile. Once or twice if you see, and again you see the scan and everything is complete and only the one sac is seen, you need not worry. This is vanishing twins. So only watchful expectancy along with that coagulation profile you have to see in the mother, that's all. The second of the twin, the other twin will grow well. This will not have any implication. The vanishing twin will not have any implications on the normal twin. Okay, need not worry about it. Okay. This is regarding the vanishing twin. Is there any other thing? Have you heard about blighted ovum?
Yes, ma'am.
Blighted ovum, that only the gestational sac will be there, amniotic fluid will be there, there's no fetal pole, there's no yolk sac. This is an empty sac syndrome. Here the patient will have bleeding. If you send her for a scan, there will be a gestational sac, there's no yolk sac, there's no fetal pole. Immediately you should not say that this is a blighted ovum and you have to get evacuated. But you can ask her to wait for some time, or you can repeat the scan after 1 week to 10 days. Again, the same finding is there. But she will have the subjective symptoms of pregnancy, serum beta HCG level will be increasing, all these things will be there, except the absent fetus. So in that case, you have to, these patients will also frequently encounter vaginal bleeding. That may be a brownish discharge or it may be a fresh bleeding. So in these cases, you have to evacuate the uterus by misoprostol or by dilatation and evacuation. Next is digital evacuation. You told no. See, when you will be able to do digital evacuation in incomplete abortion, the os is open and the products are fell through the os. You can do digital evacuation and check uretage. If the os is open only, you'll be able to do digital evacuation. In blighted ovum, if the os is open, you can do it and you have to do check uretage. At blighted ovum, you can open the cervix with the misoprostol and do evacuation. And next is, what are the other conditions? Blighted ovum, any other thing we've left? Okay, coming to ectopic pregnancy. Sorry, okay, we'll do. What are all the investigations you will do? The patient comes to you with the bleeding. First, blood investigations. What are all the blood investigations you will do? Hello. Bleeding in enna papa first.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible? Hello.
Yeah. சொல்லுடா இப்பதான் கேக்குது. Hello.
Hello.
கேக்குதா மேம்?
Hello.
கேக்குதுடா இப்ப கேக்குது. சொல்லுமா. இன்வெஸ்டிகேஷன்ஸ் என்னென்ன பண்ணலாம்?
Ma'am, investigations for like routine investigations, ma'am. Ma'am, hemoglobin, urine test.
Very good. Hemoglobin. அப்புறம் next. Degree of anemia. எவ்வளவு bleed ஆச்சு நமக்கு தெரியாது. Patient will not be able to tell. So hemoglobin one thing. Second, total count. Differential count. நீ இந்த இதுல இருக்க எல்லா டிஃபரன்ஷியல் டயக்னோசிஸ் வச்சே சொல்லிட்டே இருக்கலாம். டோட்டல் கவுண்ட், டிஃபரன்ஷியல் கவுண்ட் ஃபார் செப்டிக் அபார்ஷன். ஓகே, வேற என்ன இன்ஃபெக்ஷன் இருக்கான்னு பார்க்கலாம். அப்புறம் ப்ளீடிங், coagulation disorder. Blood dyscrasiasலயும் ப்ளீடிங் வரலாம். If the patient is having blood dyscrasias, if the patient is having coitus, coital history will trigger the bleeding. Okay, so blood dyscrasiasக்கு bleeding time, coagulation profile full பார்த்துனோம். Then next,
grouping.
என்ன மாதிரி?
Blood grouping. Blood grouping.
Blood grouping, RH typing. Very good. அப்புறம் சீரம் பீட்டா HCG சொன்னியா? எனக்கு கேட்கலையோ. சீரம், ஹலோ.
Hello, ma'am.
சீரம் பீட்டா HCG பார்க்கணும்டா சொன்னியா? ஸோ நெக்ஸ்ட் இஸ் சரி, ஓகே. சீரம் பீட்டா HCG பிளட் குரூப்பிங் RH டைப்பிங் பார்க்குறேன். RH நெகட்டிவ்னா ஈவன் இஃப் த த்ரெட்டன்ட் அபார்ஷன் யூ ஹாவ் டு கிவ் anti-D prophylaxis. If you've evacuated the uterus also, you have to give anti-D prophylaxis. But maybe it requires in a very small amount, that is 50 micrograms or 150 micrograms. Usually our anti-D prophylaxis after delivery, we used to give 300 micrograms. In first trimester abortions, you can give only 150 or 50 kuda available. Nowadays, it's not available, so 150 micrograms you are giving. Anti-D prophylaxis is a must for all the antenatal, RH negative mothers who's having bleeding or you completed the evacuation. All these patients requires anti-D prophylaxis. Next, serum beta HCG. By seeing the serum beta HCG, you can diagnose the ectopic pregnancy in a very early stage. Okay. So serum beta HCG normal level is less than 5 international units. If it's more than that, if the patient is having bleeding and the serum beta HCG level is 500, what you have to ask is, if the patient is stable, you have to ask her to repeat the serum beta HCG after 48 hours. Because in intrauterine pregnancy, intrauterine viable pregnancy, the serum beta HCG level will double by 48 hours. If it's not exactly doubled, if it's not reaching the 1000 international units, no problem. If it is, if the increase is up to 66% itself shows that the baby is an intrauterine. If the doubling time is increased or within 48 hours the serum beta HCG level is not increased up to 66, more than 66%, you have to think this is a case of ectopic pregnancy or a pregnancy of unknown origin, unknown location, whatever. Okay, so serum beta HCG is a very good tool to diagnose as well as to follow up the cases. In follow-up of cases, in ectopic pregnancy, you are going for medical management. You have to see the beta HCG level serial monitoring. In case of vesicular mole, you have to see the serum beta HCG for follow-up of these patients up to 6 months to 1 year to 2 years. Also, this patient needs follow-up. So for all these things, serum beta HCG is a must. So these are all the investigations. Other investigations like LFT, RFT and all subjected to the diagnosis. If you are going to diagnose ectopic or vesicular mole, you have your patient is a vesicular mole or ectopic, whatever it is, you have to see the RFT, LFT level, because in ectopic as well as in vesicular mole, you have to give methotrexate. In vesicular mole, you are evacuating. If the persistent mole naka, you go for methotrexate. In ectopic pregnancy, unruptured ectopic pregnancy, you are going for medical management. Her RFT, LFT should be normal. So for that sake, you have to do all this investigation. Otherwise, what you said, basic investigation is a must in all these patients. Hemoglobin, total count, differential count, blood grouping in RH typing, serum beta HCG, and other subject to the diagnosis of the patients, other investigations, and blood dyscrasias. Okay, coagulation profile. So next is any other investigation mode. This is blood investigations. Urine, of course, urine investigation, urine rotate, urine culture sensitivity, you are seeing. Next is the gold standard investigation is TVS in early pregnancy, transvaginal ultrasound. Because the probe is in close proximity to the pelvic organs, you'll be able to see the pelvic organ clearly. In a very early stage, you can pick up the fetal heart image also, heartbeat also. So TVS is the best one. Otherwise, transabdominal, abdominal probe. So the ultrasound is the best modality of investigation, right? So finally, you come to a conclusion that it's a case of, in your case, what will be? What is your diagnosis?
Maybe inevitable abortion.
Yeah, she has very good. She has moderate flow, she told you. So maybe an inevitable abortion or incomplete abortion. Okay. So I am going to show some slides, right? Some images.
Guys, can someone present the link? I sent it in the group.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll go quick. I will review, right? I will not take much of your time. Some images I want to show, right? Vesicular mole, ectopic la tani topic na taking in detail na. Adu சொன்னால ஞாபகத்துக்கு வராது. நமக்கு போடுங்க.
இதிலே போட்டுறலாம்.
போட்டுடு.
Can you see the slide? Can you see the slide?
லிங்க் இருக்கு மேம் என்கிட்ட. லிங்க் வாட்ஸ்அப்ல இருந்துச்சு, அதான் வாட்ஸ்அப்ல இருந்து எடுத்து. வந்துட்டாங்களா?
வெரி குட். அந்த அவங்களே வந்துட்டாங்களா? ஓகே, நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைட்ரா. நானும் போடுவா, அவங்களே போடுவாங்களா?
அவங்களே.
நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைடுமா.
நீங்க சொன்னீங்கன்னா அவங்க மாத்திடுவாங்க.
நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைட். அதெல்லாம் வேணாம். யா, டெஃபினிஷன் இதுல வந்து அது நம்ம என்னடா நம்மளே மாத்தி மாத்தி போட்டுட்டே இருக்காங்க. நம்மளால கண்ட்ரோல் இருக்குமா?
இது நம்ம கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ண அவங்க தான. இல்ல நீங்க நம்ம பண்ணலாம்.
இல்ல மாத்தி போட்டுக்கலாம். ஃபாஸ்டா மாத்திட்டீங்களே. Okay, any vaginal bleeding before 20 weeks of gestation is defined as early pregnancy bleeding. But நாம வந்து discuss பண்ணது only 12 weeks before 12 weeks. That is first trimester bleeding now we've dealt so far, right? Okay. Next. And the causes of bleeding in early pregnancy, abortions. Nowadays, we should not use the word abortion, miscarriage we are using, right? Ketangana, you can say miscarriage. All is threatened miscarriage, inevitable miscarriage, right? This is a separation. This picture shows that's an inevitable abortion. See, it is already separated. It's going to be in a process of expulsion. And this is the site of ectopic pregnancy, where all these sites. So your ectopic pregnancy is a very essay question, and but it will not be a clinical case. But they will ask you in theory, so they will take it in theory. And this is a vesicular mole, identiform mole. The pathognomonic sign of identiform mole is snowstorm appearance. In ultrasound, the uterine cavity is filled with the dark spaces on a white background. So that shows what dark spaces are hypoechoic areas. That is the hydropic degenerated villi in the background of bleeding. Bleeding will be in a mixed echogenic. It will be a mixed echogenic foci. So that is a snowstorm appearance. And the passage of clot is called white current in red current juice. Okay, next slide. Major causes of early pregnancy bleed. Next slide. Cervical lesions associated with the pregnancy. Okay, next slide. And this is the ectropion, erosion, cervical erosion, because the estrogenic action, endocervix is getting exposed over the surface. This is the squamous cell, this is the columnar cell, columnar epithelium, that is the squamous epithelium. This columnar epithelium is highly vascular. When she has she has intercourse, this surface will bleed. This is the commonest bleeding of associated pregnancy conditions. Next is, and this is the cervical polyp. Sometimes it may be a cervical polyp or maybe endometrial polyp, which is protruding through the os, which is getting secondarily infected. If it's not getting secondarily infected, it won't bleed. If it's getting secondarily infected with the vaginal flora, it causes bleeding. Next. And this is CS cervix, carcinoma cervix. So that's why it's a routine practice to see or any pregnant women who's coming to the antenatal clinic. In foreign countries, they are taking pap smear for every individual, every antenatal mothers. Okay, next. So how it causes now hemorrhage into the decidua basalis, which again separates the attachment, and it still further separates, and it causes complete separation and expulsion. Sometimes if the separation will not be complete and the bleeding stops there, that is called subchorionic hematoma. That is also not a very good sign. Sometimes this subchorionic hematoma will resolve and the baby will grow very well. And so most of the babies will go to till term. Okay, next slide. And this is a very crude picture, right? The second trimester abortion, they've damaged the fetal head and chest and they removed it. Actually, I want to delete this picture anyway. Next. So in threatened abortion, the fetus is in very good condition. There's a slight amount of bleeding. In incomplete abortion, they didn't write any products inside, but a full endometrial cavity, full of blood, but they should have drawn some products inside. And this is third one is inevitable abortion. The fetus is in the lower uterine segment and the cervix is almost open and it's going to expel the product. This is inevitable. You will not prevent this. And missed miscarriage, I didn't tell you, no, right? Missed abortion that is the commonest diagnosis we are seeing in our clinical practice. Missed abortion now, the patient will have pregnancy UPT positive. So pregnancy symptoms will be there and the fetus will grow very well. One fine day, the patient will have sharp pain and then there's no bleeding or maybe a spotting and they would have stopped. And along with that, the patient would have will not experience any subjective symptoms of pregnancy. She will be normal. The nausea, vomiting has stopped and she started eating very well. This is because the fetus has died in utero and it is not expelled. It is retained inside the uterine cavity. This is miscarriage, which is missed. That is inside the uterine cavity. Here also the cervix has to be dilated and the fetus has to be evacuated by means of therapeutic pharmacological agents or by procedure, invasive procedure like dilatation, evacuation or dilatation curettage. Next slide. Mr. Miscarriage. So other picture, the threatened spontaneous birth. Next slide. The picture is not that clear, right? This is ruptured ectopic pregnancy. The ectopic site is in the ampulla of the tube, so glistening and which is bluish in color, and the uterus is normal hyperemic. And here, this is the bowel, and this is the clotted bleeding, intraperitoneal bleed, which has occurred sometimes, and it has become clotted. That's why after evacuating, after catching hold of this ectopic, the sac and after doing salpingectomy, all these all this intraperitoneal bleeding and clots will be weighed. According to that, we have to transfuse blood. Most of the times it will be the laparoscopic picture you will be able to see with the pneumoperitoneum, you will be able to see this that clear. In open, as soon as we open the endometrium, peritoneal cavity, there will be brownish thick blood will be seen. After sucking out all the blood only, you'll be able to catch hold of that ectopic site. Once you catch hold of that ectopic bleeding site, immediately the patient's blood BP will started increasing. So this procedure will be done within quick succession, and it will take hardly 10 to 10 minutes. You can open and catch hold of it. That by this way only you can save this patient. The one example I tell you, one of in my early days of practice, one patient, she rang up to me, "Madam, 2 months varla, I don't want this baby." "Illa nee va paathalam, hospital va paakalam." One fine day, her mother, after that, she didn't turn up. One fine day, her mother rang me up after 1 month, I think. "Ma, பொண்ணு இறந்துட்டாமா அப்படின்னு." "என்ன சொல்றீங்க?" அப்படின்னு கேட்டார். என்னாச்சுன்னா, she had 2 months amenorrhea, she doesn't want this baby, and she started bleeding. She thought the nature itself has aborted the fetus, and she kept quiet at home. One fine day, she rang up her mother, "அம்மா, எனக்கு செம்மையா வலிக்குது, நான் ஹாஸ்பிட்டலுக்கு போறேன்." Husband was unaccompanied by her. So she came all alone to Ramachandra Medical College, if I'm correct. She went there. After that, there's no phone call. Her mother rushed to the hospital, and she was searching here and there in that hospital. She found her nowhere. One attendant told there will be a body in the mortuary. How a mother will feel. She died. As soon as she reached, she was collapsed, or we really don't know. And after that, they did postmortem, and they found that it's a ruptured ectopic. So early pregnancy bleed is one thing which should not neglect. Okay, the next slide. And this is the various sites of ectopic pregnancy. Commonest is tubular. And next is ovary. Next, the third one is abdominal, intra-abdominal pregnancy. Okay. In ectopic, intra-abdominal pregnancy, ovarian pregnancy, all these things they will teach you. There are so many criteria. Cervical pregnancy. There are so many criteria for ovarian pregnancy and cervical pregnancy. All these criteria you have to see by heart. Next. There is another entity that we will see in early pregnancy bleed, that is, pregnancy occurs in a previous cesarean patients. Sometimes, unfortunately, the blastocyst will get embedded on the previous scar. So the scar will be already weakened myometrium. In that, if it gets embedded, this causes torrential bleed. Immediately, you have to open up and evacuate that. You have to remove that products of conception along with that uterine wall and that scar. So scar excision along with that gestational sac you have to remove. This is another entity which causes early gestational bleed. And this is, what is this? Hydropic degeneration. This is vesicular mole. And the பெரிய திராட்சை மாதிரி இருக்கிறதெல்லாம் the white current. திராட்சை மாதிரி இருக்கிறது எல்லாமே வந்து hydropic degenerated villi. Next slide. And this is pathological picture. They will keep you in spotter. In the afternoon session, they'll keep. And this is a complete mole. Next one is an incomplete mole, partial mole. In that, the fetus will be there. and the fetus which is present will be of multiple anomalies. So this fetus usually won't survive. Partial mole, which is dangerous. Complete mole or partial mole is dangerous. Complete mole will end up, sometimes will end up with persistent mole, invasive mole, but partial mole will not have a persistent and invasive mole. The percentage is very less compared to the complete mole. So in complete mole, we need a prolonged follow-up. And pervaginal examination, I forgot to tell you one point, because on bimanual examination, the uterus will be larger than the period of amenorrhea, and it will be a doughy in consistency, more globular, and there will not be any internal palatability will be that, because internal palatability will be caused by the fetus itself. So there's no fetus, there's no internal palatability to be elicited. Another point is on forniceal, on palpating the fornices, there will be unilateral or bilateral ovarian cyst will be that. That is called thecal lutein cyst. That will be mostly associated with the molar pregnancy. Next. You asked, taken history, and these are all the vaginal bleeding or characteristics. Slight bleeding, this is white currant and red currant jelly, serous sanguinous, dark colored, continuous, associated with grape-like vesicles, foul smelling discharge in a septic abortion, fleshy mass na incomplete or complete. Okay, next. Slight and bright red one, the threatened abortion. Next. The pain, characteristics of the pain. Next. Next. Symptoms of early pregnancy. If the patient is having excessive vomiting, causes vesicular mole or multiple gestation. Next. In vesicular mole, the patient's BP will be early onset of gestational hypertension will be seen. Thyrotoxic features in vesicular mole. Syncopal attack in ectopic pregnancy. Next. History. Okay. Next. I think next we full discuss pannadha. I want to show the pictures. Okay. Next, discuss pannadha. You go through these slides, right? The picture is not correct. Nama early pregnancy deal pannano, very later pregnancy picture. This is the specular examination. சும்மா ஸ்பெக்குலம் எக்ஸாமினேஷன் என்னன்னு பார்க்கலாம். சர்வீஸ் அவன் எக்ஸ்போஸ் பண்ணல. See, other slides and all, whatever we discussed, they've given. Put it. Yeah. Show this picture. This is what. This is the whole thing is the uterus. This one the gestational sac. There's no fetal pole. There's no yolk sac. This is empty sac. That is blighted ovum. You can repeat it after 1 week. If the same picture is there, you have to evacuate. Otherwise, later, this is the picture. Here, first picture, the dot mixed echogenic foci inside the uterine endometrial cavity. The whole thing is the endometrial cavity. In that, this is the star retained products of conception. That is incomplete abortion. The cavity is this. Cavity is this. Next one, it's so clear. Myometrium is normal echogenic and the endometrium is normal echogenic, and there's some thin fluid inside the endometrial cavity. This is the complete abortion case or empty uterus. Okay, you will be able to imagine, right? And the star ஒரு கேவிட்டிக்குள்ள இருக்கதா இமேஜின் பண்ணி பாருங்க. பிகாஸ் உங்களுக்கு அது நியூவா இருக்கிறதுனால நாட் பி ஏபிள் டு இல்லையா? சரி இருக்கட்டும், இது பாருங்க வாங்க. திஸ் இஸ் தி யூட்ரஸ் அண்ட் திஸ் இஸ் தி கேவிட்டி. ஆனா கேவிட்டி ஃபுல்லா அட்டென்வேட் ஆயிட்டு இது இங்க இப்படி வந்திருக்கு. திஸ் இஸ் தி கேவிட்டி, அதுக்குள்ள இது இருக்கு. திஸ் இஸ் தி கேவிட்டி, இது ஃபுல்லா கேவிட்டி உனக்கு. அதுக்குள்ள இந்த ப்ராடக்ட்ஸ் இருக்கு. இந்த தண்ணியா இருக்குதுல்ல, இதெல்லாம் கேவிட்டி.
அது புரியுது.
அதான் அந்த கேவிட்டினா அதுக்குள்ள இருக்குது இல்ல. கேவிட்டி should be like this. எங்க
இங்க ஒரு ஸ்பேஸ் மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுல மேம், இது என்னன்னு கேட்டேன்.
அதுதான்டா எண்டோமெட்ரியல் கேவிட்டிக்குள்ள fluid of blood இருக்குது. This is the endometrial cavity. இந்த ஸ்பேஸ் வந்து கேவிட்டி.
ஓகே, இட்ஸ் கேவிட்டி.
கேவிட்டிக்குள்ள fluid of blood will be there and this is the product which is அந்த ஒரு எண்ட்ல அட்டாச் ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு. The whole thing is the imagine பண்ணிக்கோங்க. The whole thing is the cavity. இப்ப தெரியுதா? ஓகே, நெக்ஸ்ட் ஸ்லைடு கண்ணா. and இது வந்து எவ்வளவு கிளியரா இருக்கு பாரு, empty uterus. நெக்ஸ்ட் this is the ectopic. See, this is the uterus and the ovary is next to it and there is a hypoechogenic area. Inside that there is a pole like thing. This is the fetus. And another point to diagnose ectopic is ring of fire appearance. Around that sac there will be a ring of fire because vascularity போட்டு பார்த்தோம்னா அவ்வளவு highly vascular இருக்கும். That is called ring of fire appearance. Next, this is ectopic gestational sac. Next. This is snowstorm appearance, typical of hydatidifum mole. இங்க நடுநடுல டார்க்கா இருந்தா வந்து ஹைட்ரோபிக் வில்லை. அந்த மிக்சட் எக்கோஜெனிக்கா ஒயிட்டா இருக்கிறதுல வந்து blood or fluids. And this is the cavity. மொத்தமும் cavity, அதுக்குள்ள snowstorm appearance. இதெல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு ஸ்பாட்டர்ல வைப்பாங்க ஆர் ஆக்ஸ்கீல வைப்பாங்க. நெக்ஸ்ட்.
ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணி எழுதுற மாதிரி இருக்கு.
ஆமாப்பா, நாங்கெல்லாம் சொல்லி கொடுத்துருவோம். டோன்ட் வரி, அங்க இருக்கும். So these are all the features we've already discussed கண்ணா. I think it's enough. Right, ரொம்ப போர் அடிச்சிட்டனோ? முடிச்சாச்சு. ஓகே கண்ணுங்களா, தேங்க்யூ. ஹலோ, பிரசண்டா?
Yes, ma'am.
புரிஞ்சுதாடா? ஹலோ, ஆஸ்கில கேஸ் சினரியோ வச்சு கேட்பாங்க ஆர் எக்ஸாம்லயும் எஸ்ஏ கொஸ்டினா கூட வரலாம். எக்ஸாம் கொஸ்டின் செட் பண்ற தியரியிலயும் வரலாம். ஏர்லி பிரெக்னன்சி ப்ளீட். ஸோ யூ ஹாவ் டு ரீட். தனித்தனியா இருக்கும் ஒரு சாப்டரும். நீங்க மொத்தத்தையும் கம்பைல் பண்ணி ரீட் பண்ணும். ஓகே சரி, எனி டவுட்? நோ மேம். எனி டவுட்?
Guys, if you have any questions or doubts, you can post it in the message group.
ஓகே கண்ணா, அது வந்து இனிஷியல் ஸ்டேஜ் தான். இது நாங்கள் படிச்சாதான் தெரியும். யூ கோ அண்ட் ரீட். ஓகே.
Hello.
ஹலோ, ஏதாவது டவுட் இருக்காடா? ஹலோ ஹலோ.
Yes, ma'am. I had
சொல்லுடா.
one small doubt.
சொல்லுமா.
The polyps, you said polyp usually only if it gets infectious or septic, only then we are able to see, find out when it starts bleeding. What if, is there a case when polyp does not get infected or does not bleed and just stays there?
Sometimes.
Do we ever find?
Yeah, just on routine examination also we've seen polyp. So all the polyp need not bleed. See, any intact surface, why it is bleeding? It should be attacked by any organism or it should be traumatized. Then only it will bleed. Otherwise, there's no, even a varicose vein will not bleed unless it is traumatized. Hello?
Okay, ma'am.
Clear? Huh?
Yes, ma'am. Understood. Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Okay,
Thank you,
doctor. Okay, dear. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, dear. Bye-bye.